Travis Wingedzel. So, the laptop still in its coma. Girlfriend in a coma. And so I was informed that it is still a more likely scenario that I was cyber attacked that caused the problem. So here we go again, until I can have it fixed or know that I'm going to be using this computer all the time. So I still need to transfer files over, pictures and video clips of Nelson, stuff like that. But yeah. So I we'll do a couple of email replies. Probably do a child faith, Jewish Mormonism 101. Elgin McBride sent me a link to Miseducation Mormon Church Conversion Therapy, saying that the volume was fine, I guess. I have no idea why he was linking to that point in the video. I checked and I turned up the volume just in case. But on this video that I did this morning, YouTube, with their algorithms, suck. They only define conversion as sexual orientation. And so they put the sexual orientation notification at the bottom of my video. And it's wrong. There is no sexual orientation discussed in that video. There's what's called religious conversion, which is what I was referring to. There's also the converting of DVDs to a digital format. And so conversion, to be interpreted as sexual orientation, is miseducation on the part of YouTube. And it's a very dangerous one to have done to me. But that's YouTube. And so this is part of the problem of AI and algorithms. It was what caused Blockbuster Video to go bust. It's what caused both my dad and my computers to be hacked by Net Nanny, what's supposed to protect us from hacks. They became the hackers because they identified a Hotmail email to my dad as a threat to the system, and so they responded by cyber attacking us. And it was only because of AOL back in the day, where you'd plug into the phone line and anybody who's on the phone line gets hacked. But Net Nanny, this is where extremism goes too far. But yeah, this is where YouTube is going too far. They think they're helping. They think they're trying to control the flow of miseducation. They're not. They're specifically targeting people for their hate. That's all it is. And so Mormons and even critics don't get it. The Book of Mormon says it's in the learning of the Jews. So why are both sides using Christian Jesus? You've been miseducated. It's very simple, very plain and precious, and yet nobody wants to know what the real Church of Joseph Smith was, what the Book of Mormon is actually trying to tell us. And so Elgin McBride also put in 2 Nephi chapter 10. What about it? It means nothing to me. I have no idea what you mean by that. Are you trying to own me? Are you trying to say you now understand the Book of Mormon better in the learning of the Jews? Because that's what you're supposed to do with 2 Nephi chapter 10. Just people are not thinking. You gotta follow it through. Learning of the Jews for everything in the Book of Mormon. And so 2 Nephi chapter 10, for those of you who don't have it memorized. Jews, according to Bruce R. McConkie, he puts, Jews shall crucify their God. They shall be scattered until they begin to believe in him. America shall be a land of liberty where no king shall rule. Be reconciled to God and gain salvation through his grace. Well, must be Christian. Saved by grace. Yeah, and then about 559 to 545 BC. Nope. Learning of the Jews. Bruce, you miseducated and led Mormons astray here. He's making you believe Christian interpretation. He's making you believe Jesus. He's making you think that Constantine was correct in his first creed of Christianity that turned the Jewish prophecies of the latter days into literal history. And so Christians believe that they can hate the Jews because the Jews murdered the Christian Christ. No. No. It's the learning of the Jews. And apparently this is too complicated. And so, the Christ of the Jews is a man like Moses. And he is going to come in the future. And so they also revealed the dates of the latter days of when he would come to save the specific people. Because it's not just the Jews. It depends on the Jewish author as to which people those future people are to be. Sometimes they're Philistines, sometimes they're the house of Israel, sometimes they're a specific tribe in the house of Israel, like Judah for the Jews. Joseph Smith gave us the key to deciphering the prophecies of all Jewish scripture. Section 103, verses 16 and 17. The future Christ will be from Brigham Young's branch off. The false Christ, who will claim to be the false prophet of the false Christ of the great and abominable church, is of Brigham Young's branch off. And the Jews, or the house of Israel, or a specific house of Israel, or the Philistines, or whatever the Jewish author is using as the people, are you, Mormons. And so in the Book of Mormon, who are the Nephites? You, Mormons. Who are the Lamanites? You, Mormons. Who are the Jaredites? You, Mormons. Who are the Mulekites? You, Mormons. Who are the Amlicites? You, Mormons. Is this too complicated? And so, if the Jews are Mormons, then Bruce R. McConkie needs to rewrite this. Let me do it for him. Mormons shall crucify their Christ. Oops. Well, who did Mormons crucify? Or are they still going to try to crucify him? All these videos for you. You have time now to get caught up. You didn't take it. 2 Nephi chapter 3 verse 5. The prophecy of Joseph. Wherefore Joseph of Egypt truly saw our day, and he obtained the promise of the Lord, that out of the fruit of his loins, seed, egg, baby, the Lord God would raise up. Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19, the Jewish Christ, who would be a Mormon of the Brighamite branch, using the key from section 103, 16 and 17. A man like Moses, one mighty and strong, as you more popularly know him as, from section 85. A righteous branch unto the house of Israel, Mormons. Not the Messiah of Mormons, but a branch which was to be broken off, nevertheless to be remembered in the covenants of the Lord. This is Joseph Smith. That the Messiah should be made manifest unto the Mormons in the latter days. And thus the purpose for the church that Joseph Smith established on 6 April 1830. To prepare Mormons for the coming of their Christ through their religion. So, when is the latter days? Well, beginning of the Book of Mormon. They give you the star date. Lehi's second vision, which is an exact same pattern match for Joseph Smith's second vision. That's the date. Comes from Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. Using astronomy, it's the 23rd of September, 2017. China-made t-shirts. That's the first year of the latter days. And so that Zedekiah, king of Judah guy? Nope. It's the president of the United States of America in 2017. Which is not supposed to have a king. The Book of Mormon is prophetic. It gave us predictions, and they've happened because we're in 2024. 2017 has come and gone. Mormons, your Christ is here. And so both Joseph Smith and this future Mormon through Brigham Young's branch off are your Christ. Joseph Smith was murdered. Guess who paid the Judas price to have him murdered? President Russell Marion Nelson gave us the receipts of those who murdered Joseph Smith right before Thanksgiving last year. Mormons murdered Joseph Smith. They are the great and abominable church. Verse 19 of the first vision. And so you check the Joseph Smith papers, right? So that you know that verse 1 is not the name of Joseph's church. That's why I've been always putting in that clip by Nelson. This is not the church of Joseph Smith. This is the great and abominable church. This is not complicated. This is real easy to do. It gets complicated when you don't use the learning of the Jews. All of a sudden there's complications, all of a sudden there's contradictions, all of a sudden there are questions, all of a sudden you've got supernatural stuff going on. So Joseph Smith told you who to look for. And again, the duty of the president to the office of the high priesthood is to preside over the whole church and to be like unto Moses, the Christ. That's the keys of the president of the church. Which keys does Nelson claim? Oh, Peter for preaching that the Book of Mormon is supposed to be the learning of the Jews. Oh, they didn't? Oh, is that what Joseph Smith meant in verse 1 of his 1838 history? Huh. Evil disposed and designing persons militating against Joseph and his church. Telling people the wrong name of the church. Telling people that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ. Evil disposed and designing militant Danites. The enemy of mankind. The threat to the whole world. And I'm kind of disappointed in you, Putin. If it was you who did the cyber terrorist attack, I warned you that the church is going to betray you. I'm trying to help you. What thanks do I get? And if it's China, I wanted to warn you too. Nelson, I've been telling you, they disrespect you. They call Taiwan, Taiwan. Nobody ever listens. Nobody ever believes. It's real simple. And so this is who you look for, Mormons. Someone with the gifts of seer, revelator, prophet, and translator. I've even been working on the video. I'm still kind of stuck. Do I just do a narrative for you to read? Or do I do some explaining? Because it's a visionary language. But Samson, the Sun King, I was going to translate the name for you, since Nelson can't translate Israel correctly. So that's still in the works. And so, child faith, on Mormons arguing Joseph Smith and Book of Mormon are false. He's asking, where can I check out those calendars out? Well, it's that box right there. These are all the books. There wasn't enough room in the closet, so only the games could go in the closet. You know, need somebody to play with, preferably a female. I've even invented board games. But nobody to play with. And so, yeah, learning of the Jews. So the visionary accounts use the learning of the Jews. Book of Mormon, learning of the Jews. Bible, learning of the Jews. It's not Passion Week in the Gospels. It's Passover. It's the Jews. It's a prophecy of the future, and I just told you how to interpret it. Russell Marion Nelson is the false prophet of prophecy. He starts in verse 20 of Deuteronomy 18. He's in the book of Revelation. He's by Joseph Smith. He's in the Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon, by plagiarizing the King James Version of the Bible, errors and all, put in the Latin Vulgate that put in Lucifer as his name. And so, let's run a test. Can't just call Nelson Lucifer, because it's funny, is Russell Marion, baby name meaning Lucifer. Russell, red. Marion, star of the sea. Red star of the sea. Well, stars are out in space. The red star is Mars. Mars is the husband of Venus. Venus is symbolized with the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Mars is Lucifer. To the church of Satan, Lucifer. Church of the devil. There are two churches, Mormons. The Church of the Devil, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the Church of the Lamb. Lamb? Can lambs talk? Lambert did. Most of my viewers are older, so they know who I'm talking about. Revelation. This is where we're getting it from, because it's in the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon's referring to Revelation. Tells us John the Revelator, the apostle of the Lamb. So chapter 19, the marriage supper, and we have to include our Doctrine and Covenants, section 58. Because this is all about that, they're the same. The marriage supper, wedding feast at the Zion temple of the Christ, and thus of his bride. And so he's going to be coronated king over Zion. But oh no, 2 Nephi chapter 10 says there's going to be no kings. But also he has to get married. And I did that video, and all Mormon women are fearing and trembling and saying, "Not if you are the last man on earth. The human race dies with me." And thus the great whore, Babylon, and her fornication. But he gives us the star date. And I've been doing it for you all these years since I found it. 8 April 2024. Solar eclipse on the back of the white horse. But Jupiter, who is the Christ from Revelation 12, is in Aries, the Ram-Lamb constellation. And so yeah, that's what I would be explaining with Samson. Because he's the Sun King, the deaths are solar eclipses. And those 3 deaths are over the United States of America. And yes, they are the 3 eclipses that we've had and are about to have in 1 month, 21 days. False prophet is mentioned in here too at the end, along with Zedekiah. And so, yeah, the calendars, you can't get the 2024 calendar. I don't know what happened. It was made available. I saw it. I bought it. I got it. And then I went back to try to get the picture. And nope. Gone. It was gone before I even got it. Apparently they only printed one. Apparently the guy only put it up until after I bought one and pulled it. I don't know what happened. There's no explanation. The guy's been doing them since 2013, and then for some reason he pulled it. It's very weird. But the Jewish calendar, I go to SF. cgSF.org/DBEATTIE/calendar/ provides the Hebrew in the one column and the Roman year AD 2024 on the other. And you can go up and change 2024 to any date you want. You can even go into the negatives. It's real cool. And you can even do a copy and paste and make Word documents of them for the file system. I've got a number of them. I don't have all of them of all time, obviously. So if anybody wants to do that, that'd be great. You can start with as far back as it'll let you go and then work your way forward in time. I'll give you something to help me with, and then email them to me. You can use a zip file. And so, yeah, you can see the difference, and it gives you a key code of the Jewish holy days down at the bottom. This year is a leap year, not just for us, but also for the Jewish calendar. And on 8 April 2024, that's the end of the year, with second Adar. And so the first is the 1st of Nisan, on the evening of 8 April at 6 p.m. That's supposed to be the millennium. But, as I've gone over with you, the enemy has failed. They were supposed to attack in 2020, and they did, but it failed. And so now they're doing it again this year, a repeat performance. But everything happened according to the Exodus, because remember, a man like Moses. Real simple. So Moses, he's the Mormon Christ. Pharaoh, the false Christ of the Great and Abominable Church. And the Mormon goes to Nelson and says, "Let my people go." And Nelson says no. This is suing in court. So in 2020, you're looking for a Mormon who sues the church to let Mormons go. He will be a prophet, seer, revelator, translator of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian, just as Joseph was. There will be creeping death in 2020. there will be the 3 solar eclipses, 3 days of darkness. In those gospel accounts, there's both 3 days and 3 hours of darkness. That Matthew guy gave us the day and the hour. Well, why did he say that no man knows the day or the hour if he gave it to us? He even gave us the pattern of the 3 solar eclipses and gave us X marks the spot with a cross, because Romans didn't use crosses, they used poles. So who put in that no man knows the day or the hour, when clearly the author knew exactly the day and the hour and the location on earth and the name of the Christ? And then the waters would part and the dry land would appear with a drought in 2020. For Mormons to pass through or pass over, they didn't use the lamb's blood on their doorpost, did they? Mormons followed Pharaoh and died. Pharaoh had called China and knew about the creeping death and did not tell Mormons, did not warn Mormons, kept it a super sacred secret from Mormons. And then in that April conference, condemned the governor for shutting down the state of Utah. And the church was opened back up, and Mormons died. And Mormons still thank Pharaoh for being the living prophet of Jesus. They still give Pharaoh their tithing tribute. That made their burdens worse. Mormons missed the Exodus. And then election fraud, an attempt to decertify the election, and an attempted coup of the government. And here we go again. This time it will be done. So if nothing happens on 8 April, if they fail, they still have 2024's election, where Zedekiah is being allowed to run. We already know what's going to happen. They've already told us. He's kept his promises in the first year of his reign. And here we go again. The kingmen. Are you sure, Bruce, that there will be no kings in America? Are you sure? I know Nelson has failed to do his part. Jesus will not suddenly come to his temple on the conference weekend. It's not finished. And neither is his palace and throne. You know, drove by again today. Still not done. Still got a long ways to go. 2 more years, says Nelson. Oops. But yeah, the election, it's coming. So be good, for goodness sake. Whoa, somebody's coming. Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Fire and brimstone. The dead rising from the grave, rivers and streams boiling, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I probably missed something.